Good morning, welcome to another video. As you might be able to guess, I am not in the Canadian Rockies right now. I'm actually in Portugal. And I did a little bit of research before I came here, and I found a small town called Lagos. And I thought that had some really nice coastline that would be worth photographing this morning. So I've got up, driven away from the family holiday just for the morning, and come down to this little bay behind me here. Now, the thing that drew me to here were the stone steps that kind of ran down into the water, and then obviously all these little outcrops of rock that you can see behind me here. In all honesty though, this location is a lot busier than I was expecting it to be. So I didn't think too much about it, but it was quite easy for me to find, so it would make sense that there's quite a few other people here at sunrise as well. That's meant the photography's been a little bit harder for sure, and I've been a little bit too nervous to kind of speak on camera in all honesty as well. But I have my drone with me today. So what I'm hoping is, if I can't get shots down there with my camera, with the stairs of those leading lines, I'm gonna put the drone up into the air and then see what I can get with that. Right, I'll be honest, originally I'd completely given up on this video. When on location, I actually became pretty demotivated. There were just a lot more people around than I expected that morning. And also I was really struggling to get the angles and the compositions that I was after. So I walked away pretty deflated. I stopped filming as much and really thought that I hadn't got any images that were worth sharing. However, after getting home and getting some of those images on my computer and doing just a small bit of editing, I started to change my mind. And now I think I've got some images that actually turned out really well. At the end of the day, I think it was my drone and Photoshop's new AI remove tool that really saved the day. So I thought it might be interesting to share some of my thoughts during the process and why at the time I felt like those images wouldn't work, and now why I feel like they do.
My original plan was to photograph the cove and use these lovely stone steps you see here covered in people as a leading line coming from the bottom of frame. My thought was to use my R6, a tripod and most likely a polarizer filter, and use a longer exposure to smooth out the water a little. Now the thing with this was I really wanted some separation between the lines, walls and floor of the stairs, and to do this I would need to get higher. Too high for my tripod. I was able to get the angle I wanted by standing on a wall and holding my camera above my head. Although the end results weren't terrible, it wasn't what I wanted. Due to not being able to have the camera locked off on a tripod and the low light, I wasn't really able to successfully use any long exposures, do accurate exposure bracketing, nor get away with using any filters.
Using such a wide angle lens on this shot has resulted in the stairs being really stretched and kind of elongated at the bottom of frame, and they become quite dominant and kind of take over the composition. To negate this, I really needed to get higher up. So this is when I decided to launch the drone, something that I haven't had much time to use recently, but I wanted to see if I could get a better composition.
I hovered the drone above where I was standing. The extra height made it easier to compose, giving the rock formations more breathing space between each other. I took a little bit of time to get the angle right and making sure the rocky outcrops didn't directly intercept the horizon line. The stairs themselves now look proportionate to the rest of the image, being further from the camera. Although I am still a little annoyed, I just about cut off the corner of the stairs on the right-hand side.
The drone also allowed me to get high enough to take a landscape version of this shot, something that just wasn't possible from the ground.
Whilst the drone was still in the air, I noticed some paddleboarders coming through from a distance. Again, something I just wouldn't have spotted without the drone. This completely changed the game. I went from trying to just capture the cove to trying to capture the paddleboarders in amongst the arches and caves. They provided a splash of colour as well as a point of scale. I bided my time and waited for the right moment for them to align with the scenery around them. These straight down shots ended up being some of my favourite from that morning.
And not only was I able to get some unique perspectives of the paddleboarders using the drone, but I was also able to get some really interesting perspectives of the whole headland. But due to my inexperience of the drone, some of these images did come out overexposed with clipped highlights, but we'll get to that later. Now, in some of these images, you might be wondering, where are all those people that I was complaining about earlier? And this is when Photoshop's AI remove tool comes in. And I want to show you how easy that is to use really quickly.
It is simply as easy as opening the image in Photoshop, clicking the removal tool here in the tool panel, and then drawing over the areas you want removed. And AI fills in the blanks.
Now, it isn't perfect, but it is pretty close. And it takes something that could take hours to complete and does it in just a matter of seconds. I'd almost completely disregarded some of these images just due to the copious amounts of people that were in them. However, because Photoshop's AI tool is so quick and so easy to use, I felt like I may as well give it a quick go and see if removing them made any difference. And once I'd done that, I preferred a lot of the images. And that's probably something I wouldn't have done if I was still using those old Photoshop tools and having to invest more time in it. So after just a few simple clicks, I was much happier with the base image and felt they deserved a bit of extra time. I even used the AI remove tool to remove distracting overexposed areas. Now, the overexposure was completely my fault, and I'd neglected the lack of dynamic range in the DJI Mini Pro 3, and I probably should have been shooting bracketed shots to make sure I got all the details. However, after just a few clicks, I'd saved those images too. So these were images that I felt I'd completely messed up and had now become salvageable. And obviously you shouldn't rely on post-production techniques like that and try and get it right in camera as much as possible. But it is great to know that those tools exist and that they are really easy to use. As far as AI tools go, I think for me this is one of the best ones, and probably one of the ones I'll actually be using pretty regularly. I think in the future I won't worry so much about having other people in frame, and it will make photographing at kind of iconic locations that are really busy where it's unavoidable just a little bit less stressful. If you enjoyed this little bit of insight into the process on location, as well as kind of my thoughts on post-production, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to my channel. It really supports the channel and motivates me to make more videos in the future. But once again, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.